Hey everyone, if you are looking for new sheets, and in particular, Boll Branch alternatives, especially those that might be a bit more affordable with equal luxury, I'm going to go over some of my top picks. So I've had Boll Branch before and I was incredibly excited. I'm sure like most of you, the idea of luxury sheets, especially when you're transitioning into adulthood, seems incredibly appealing, right? It's that big mark of success of I've made it and have disposable income. But I found that they were surprisingly thin and flabby. I think a lot of the cost went into the packaging. So I'm fine with paying for good quality products, but I don't want to overpay just for fancy packaging so that when I unwrap it, everything looks great, because honestly, packaging is just garbage, future garbage that I get to deal with. So I looked into a lot of samples that were not the same type of thin and flabby design with the same quality, and of course different prices. So I'm going to go over my favorites. So to start, I was really intrigued by Thomas Lee. I actually enjoyed Thomas Lee as a good alternative. They were a little bit thicker, a little bit more durable than Boll Branch, and didn't have the exact same cost. So they have a lot of different options, all of which of course have that same type of sustainable manufacturing claim behind them, with the woman owned and operated. So if that's something that's important to you, then Thomas Lee, despite being a male's name, does have a good set of sheets from a woman-owned company. Now, out of the sheet sets, you have different options. So this is the one that I tried. You get some soft sheets that of course were made a little famous by HGTV magazine and Vanity Fair, and you can find them in 2 different colors and of course different sizes. So having the California King option is going to be a great marker if you are looking for something bigger. Now, what I really liked was that it had the nice finished hand stitching, and honestly I thought they were very soft, a lot thicker and a little bit more durable than Boll Branch, and they got softer with every wash, surprisingly. So you know that when you're buying it, a lot of the cost is actually going into not just the cotton, known for being that soft, but into the production. So it's made without harmful chemicals, it's produced using wind power and recycled rainwater. So you are paying a little bit more for this type of luxury, but part of that cost is the sustainability as opposed to the Boll Branch packaging. So another option I liked was Parachute. So Parachute has way more color options and different sheet options. So here you can see a comparable set to the Thomas Lee option. Same type of Egyptian cotton. So obviously long staple cotton is going to be ideal for breathability. It's going to be ideal for softness. This is some of the softest you're going to get, and if that's what you're looking for, this is a great alternative to Thomas Lee and of course Boll Branch, because it does have all these options. You have the different patterns. I like this blue pattern here, although the moss stripe is the one that I have used. So I like the patterns because you can pair them with a solid duvet cover and any other solid print that you have in the room. They do have up to that California King size, and it's pretty affordable when you consider how much goes into these products and how comfortable they are. So you have that same sort of sustainability and that handcrafted design here with all of the different fabrics. And one of the reasons I like Parachute is that you have more than just that long staple cotton. So they do have other options like linen and brushed cotton. Now, linen sheets can be very useful if you live in a hot or humid area. They are particularly good at helping with breathability and temperature regulation. So you're going to have a slightly different feel, but they are incredibly durable. And for me, that breathability is very important. So this is made from flax and that same sort of sustainability. And then Brooklinen. So Brooklinen is one of the top Boll Branch alternatives that people tend to go with. They do have nice cotton ideas here, or cotton options here, but you can get solid, you can get striped, you can get all over color. When it comes to bedding, they have things like this sheet bundle here, which is about the same price as what you get with Parachute or Thomas Lee here. So the difference, of course, being the print, the type of color that you get. You get the same general set in terms of sheets, pillowcases, and whatnot, but you have different color options. You have different sizes down to twin. So you'll notice that here your options do not include twin. So you do have more colors, but you don't have bedding for, arguably for children, but of course adults can have twin beds too. So if you are looking for a comparative option to Parachute, but you want a good alternative to Boll Branch that doesn't overcharge you for the packaging, then the Brooklinen is going to have a good twin or twin extra large size. And of course, you get that luxury feel, that luxury design, versatility, and we've used Brooklinen before, and much the same as the Thomas Lee, it does get more comfortable with every wash, and it's pretty durable. I will say that Thomas Lee, kind of like Boll Branch, didn't really last as long. I was surprised at how quickly it wore out, but arguably Brooklinen is going to last a little bit longer. And then over here we have Silk and Snow. So Silk and Snow has similar material options to many of the Boll and Branch products. You have that Egyptian cotton there. You have the waffle bedding, which I like, muslin bedding, flax linen. So there are some key differences in terms of what is available, and I do like the waffle texture. When we lived in a really cold climate, that came in handy. It was just the perfect thing to cozy up with in the living room or while reading, and it's really good for those shoulder seasons, you know, the spring and the autumn, when temperatures can fluctuate. Some days it's incredibly hot, some days it's very cold. So having the waffle blankets at the foot of the bed, for me, not only added some extra style to the room, as you can see in these pictures, just kind of near the edge here, but they made a good option to keep just at the ready in case things got a little bit colder. So in terms of their sheet sets, look here at comparative products. So Egyptian cotton, that type of long staple, very comfortable cotton. This is going to be a much cheaper alternative to Boll Branch and even to Parachute, Brooklinen, and Thomas Lee. But that's for one flat sheet, one fitted sheet, and two pillowcases. The color options are significantly more limited. And of course, you can donate trees with your order to try and compensate for the trees that, well, since this was cotton, were not cut down to make these products, but it's still a cool idea. You can see here that they do give you that 100 nights free trial, so you can actually test these for 100 nights and then give them back if you don't like them. Made in Portugal, you'll see that a lot with crafted in Portugal as well here with Parachute Home. And in terms of certifications, they do have the genuine cotton certifications and this same standard 100 certification, which is also what you get over here with Parachute. Also, you have the machine washable idea, and I don't know if these get more comfortable with additional use, but I would assume they do. I have not actually tried the Silk and Snow, but I have friends who have these exact sheets, and you know, they keep them on their guest beds and in the kids' rooms, so they seem to work just fine. They are much cheaper, so you are a little bit more limited in what you are getting from the different colors or prints. Obviously, there are no prints here, but you do have options of adding a duvet, those wool dryer balls, or donations, as I mentioned. Now, on the cheaper end of things, I have seen a lot of talk about how the Target brands, particularly the just simple Target threshold cotton sheets, are a very good Boll Branch alternative. They're a lot thicker, they're a lot sturdier, you don't have to deal with excess pricing, but you do get a good value for what you're paying. So these are different cotton. I mean, not all cotton is created equally, but these still come with a pretty good level of durability, different color and print options. You can see here even more print than you would get with some of the other top Boll Branch alternatives, and a much cheaper option. You do have the same type of size variety as with right here with Silk and Snow and with Brooklinen. So if you're looking for sheets, especially for smaller sized beds, then this will be a good option to consider. Otherwise, they don't have a lot of guarantees. You do get this same type of green certification as with comparable Boll Branch alternatives, and 400 thread count. But beyond that, you're not really paying much for the durability. You're not paying much for the sustainability, and that's in large part where the price drops significantly. But if the manufacturing is a very important part of the process for you and you do care about that sustainability, then you can look toward companies like Parachute that are sustainably made, have those same types of certifications and that luxury. Obviously, no one's going to look at a Target name brand and be like, ooh, those are the most luxurious sheets for grown-ups. But they still get the job done if you are on a tight budget. They are still comparatively comfortable to Boll Branch. But if you're looking for that same versatility in terms of the material, like linen or muslin sheets, then I would consider Parachute. I would also consider Brooklinen.